I promise you've never heard a story quite like this before. Today, let's delve into an epic tale from the Bible, one that has inspired countless generations, the story of Moses. Before we begin, remember, everything we discuss today takes place thousands of years ago during biblical times in lands surrounding Israel. The people were diverse, their skin darkened by an unforgiving sun, their faith unwavering. Moses' journey is not just a story, it's a lesson in faith, courage, and deliverance. Let me take you back. The story begins in Egypt, amidst a fierce background of tyranny. Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, had enslaved the Israelites and feared their growing numbers. To weaken them, a cruel decree was issued. Every newborn male Hebrew child was to be thrown into the river Nile. Amidst this time of peril, a Levite woman gave birth to a son, a child so extraordinary that she could not bring herself to follow the orders. She hid him for 3 months, keeping her village whispers and heavy guards at bay. But as the days passed and his cries grew louder, she knew her time was running out. Desperate to save him, she crafted a waterproof basket, placed her son in it, and set him afloat on the Nile River, praying to God for protection. Little did anyone know, this would be the beginning of a miraculous journey. The baby's sister, named Miriam, watched from a distance, keeping a close eye. And as fate, or perhaps divine intervention, would have it, Pharaoh's own daughter discovered the child among the reeds while bathing in the Nile. Moved with compassion, she decided to adopt him, naming him Moses, which means drawn out of water. However, his story was far from over. Moses grew up in the Egyptian palace, surrounded by wealth and privilege. Yet he felt the tugging of his true heritage. One day he witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. In an act of fury, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. When Pharaoh learned of this, Moses fled to the wilderness of Midian, a place of exile but also a place of growth. In Midian, Moses started anew. He married Zipporah, the daughter of a priest, and became a shepherd, tending to flocks on remote mountainsides. It was in this solitude that the most incredible event occurred. On Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, Moses encountered a burning bush, flames blazing but the bush itself unconsumed. From the bush, the voice of God spoke, saying, "Moses, Moses, I have heard the cries of my people in Egypt. I send you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." Terrified and hesitant, Moses tried to resist. "Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? I am not eloquent. I am slow of speech and tongue," he pleaded. But God reassured him, "I will be with you, and take this staff. It will perform signs." With faith as his anchor, Moses set out on a journey that would change history forever. Back in Egypt, Moses stood before Pharaoh with his staff in hand and a message from God. "Let my people go." Pharaoh's heart, however, was hardened. He laughed at Moses, refusing the command. Then came the plagues, 10 devastating signs of God's power. Water turned to blood. Frogs swarmed the land. Gnats and flies ravaged Egypt. Cows grew diseased. Boils plagued the skin. Hailstorms shook the ground. Locusts devoured crops. Darkness enveloped the land. And finally, the death of every Egyptian firstborn. With each plague, Pharaoh resisted until the final blow, the most heartbreaking of all. Out of grief and fear, Pharaoh released the Israelites, telling Moses to take his people and leave. But as they approached the Red Sea, Pharaoh's heart shifted again. He sent his chariots and soldiers to chase after them. When Moses and the Israelites reached the Red Sea, fear gripped them. Trapped between the waters and Pharaoh's army, they cried out. Moses, unwavering, lifted his staff as God commanded. And then, a miracle of unimaginable proportions unfolded. The waters parted, walls of water standing tall on either side, creating a dry path. The Israelites crossed safely, while the Egyptian army pursued. only for the waters to crash down, swallowing them whole. With their enemies defeated and their chains broken, the Israelites were free. But their journey was far from finished. They wandered the wilderness for 40 years, forging a covenant with God and receiving the 10 Commandments on stone tablets. Moses became their leader, their prophet, their symbol of hope. What can we learn from Moses? Faith in God's promises, courage in the face of fear, humility in leadership, and above all, the power of deliverance. Moses' story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, God is faithful and his plans are far greater than our limitations. So here's my question to you. What are you holding on to that might need the faith of Moses? What sea in your life needs parting? Remember, God still works miracles today, just as he did thousands of years ago. Let me know in the comments. What stood out to you most about Moses' story? And as always, share this video if it inspired you. You never know who might need a reminder of hope and deliverance today. Thank you for joining this journey through the Bible. Stay tuned for more incredible stories.